Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, may we please rise for the national anthem. Thank you very much. May we have our seats? Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the annual general meeting of Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC. The time now is 10 a.m. The company secretary has informed me that a quorum has been formed. I will now invite the registrar to announce the number of proxies received and the percentage of shareholders they represent.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders. For the purpose of this meeting, we received 61 proxies with a total of 683,085,781 units of shares, representing 86.09% of the issued share capital of the company. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Registrar. I have the great pleasure in declaring this meeting open. Please note that this meeting is being streamed live and recorded. May I now ask on Mr. Matthew Akinlade to say the opening prayers?
Let us pray. In the name of Jesus, in the holy name of Jesus, O Lord our God, we thank you for the life of our company, Portland Products, for the directors, for the staff, for the management, and for we, the shareholders, that we are able to come here today in peace and happiness, accept our thanks in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. O Lord our God, we invite you to come and chairman today's meeting. Direct our chairperson and let this meeting be successful. And when we shall be going back to our different homes, O Lord our God, see us through in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Akinlade. May I please ask Mrs. Olachi Okengu to take us through the safety rules and procedures applicable to this venue?
Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, to enable Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC to ensure the safety of all persons in attendance at this meeting, it is important to inform you of the health safety rules of the UAC House. Please note the following. All attendees shall be subjected to temperature scanning by use of infrared digital thermometer, which shall be compulsory. Temperature readings above 37.3 degrees Celsius will not be granted access into the building. All attendees must wash their hands at the wash hand stations located at the entrance of the floor, and hand sanitizers must be used. Prior to joining the meeting, hand sanitizers are provided for your use. Only 2 persons shall be allowed into the elevator at a time. The inside of the elevator is marked accordingly, and you are please advised to comply with the spacing arrangements. Only the security guards are permitted to operate the lifts. Occupants are not allowed to touch or operate the lifts. The use of face mask is compulsory and is a precondition for admittance into the building. When sneezing or coughing, please endeavor to cover your nose and mouth with tissue or do so on your elbow. The restroom is located at the left side of this corridor. The UAC house is a no smoking zone. The building has sensitive smoke detectors, which may be triggered on account of smoking within the building. In the unlikely event of the fire alarm going off, or in the case of an emergency, everyone is advised to remain calm and make use of any of the emergency exits at the 2 sides of the floor. An authorized personnel will provide guidance on how to safely exit the building in such circumstance. Please do not attempt to use the elevator. In order to keep a tab on visitors to the building, the names of all visitors shall be taken and uploaded onto a register created for that purpose. We hope that you continue to stay safe and please have a successful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. In view of the need to limit the spread of the coronavirus and in compliance with the government restrictions on large gatherings, your company decided to hold the AGM by proxy, in line with the guidelines of the Corporate Affairs Commission and having obtained their prior approval. Also, this meeting is being streamed live to enable stakeholders to watch the proceedings. I wish to express our appreciation to the health workers who have been in the front line tackling the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the government for the constructive actions they have been taking. We should all endeavor to keep safe. Once again, you're all welcome to this meeting, and I acknowledge our stakeholders who are watching this meeting being live streamed on our website and our YouTube channel. Having said that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce myself and those in attendance with me at this meeting. At this meeting on my right is the Managing Director of your company, Mrs. Bolarin Oknowo. Also at this meeting on my left is the Company Secretary of your company, Mrs. Ayomiko Way.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders.
And myself, Mrs. Esosa Balogun, Chairperson of your company and this meeting. Good morning all. Please be informed that the following directors of your company are joining this meeting online. Mrs. Adeline Ogunfidodo, Engineer Diko Ashafa, and Dr. Vitus Ezenwa. We also have with us representatives of the following regulators. From the Nigerian Stock Exchange, we have with us Mr. Bonaventure Onwuji. You're welcome. From the Securities and Exchange Commission, we have Mr. Taiwo Odusonya. You're welcome. The Corporate Affairs Commission has sent no representative, as they had earlier stated in their response to our invitation that due to the pandemic, they will not be sending a representative, but that a report of the meeting should be forwarded to them. I would also like to introduce to you representatives of the following. The auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, represented by Mrs. Tolulokpe Oshinowo. The registrar, Africa Prudential PLC, represented by Mrs. Catherine Owonsu. For the Statutory Audit Committee, we have representation from the Chairperson, Mr. Shamsidin Balogun. Please be reminded that this meeting is being streamed live and recorded. When you want to speak, please indicate by show of hand and wait for the chairperson to call on you to speak. Please state your name clearly and endeavor to be brief and go straight to the point. I urge you not to repeat what has been previously said. Kindly also note that the Register of Directors Shareholding and the record of attendance at board meetings of directors eligible for election are available for viewing at this meeting. Please also note that the requisite information is contained in the annual report. I will now call on the Company Secretary to read the notice of meeting.
Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, the notice of this meeting is contained on page 7 of the annual reports and accounts. I'll now read. Notice is hereby given that the annual general meeting of Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC will be held at 1/5 Odunlami Street, Lagos Island, Lagos, on Thursday, July 2nd, 2020, at 10 a.m. in order to transact the following businesses. Ordinary business. 1. To lay before the members the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2019, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and audit committee thereon. 2. To approve the appointments of the following directors: Mrs. Bolarin Okunowo and Dr. Vitus Ezinwa. 3. To re-elect the following directors who are retiring by rotation: 1. Mrs. Adeline Ogunfidodo and Mrs. Esosa Balogun. 4. To authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. 5. To elect members of the Statutory Audit Committee, dated this first day of June 2020, by order of the board, Ayomipowe, Company Secretary. I will now proceed to read the notes to the notice. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Way. It's now time for me to read the chairperson's statement. Distinguished shareholders, the chairperson's statement is on page 11 of the annual report, copies of which have been circulated to shareholders and is also available on the company's website. I hereby crave your indulgence to kindly waive my reading of the statement and please consider same as read. Thank you, distinguished shareholders. I will now ask a representative of the auditors to read the auditor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, please allow me to read the abridged version of the auditor's report.
Please do.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, shareholders, please allow me to read the abridged version of the auditor's report. Okay, thank you, shareholders. Independent auditor's report to the members of Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC.
Mrs. Oshinowo, please can you move closer to the microphone?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Independent auditor's report to the members of Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC. Report on the audit of the financial statement. In our opinion, Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC, the company's financial statement, give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company as at 31 December 2019 and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards and the requirements of the Companies and Allied Matters Act and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act. What we have audited: we have audited Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC's financial statements, which comprise the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the year ended 31 December 2019, the statement of financial position as at 31 December 2019, the statement of changes in equity for the year then ended, the statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and the note to the financial statements, which include a summary of significant accounting policies. Basis of our opinion: we conducted our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statement section of our report. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. We are independent of the company in accordance with the International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, including international independence standards, i.e. the IESB code, issued by the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IESB code. So I'll move on to the last paragraph on pages 52 and 53. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. The Companies and Allied Matters Act requires that in carrying out our audit, we consider and report to you on the following matters. We confirm that 1, we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, we are necessary for the purposes of our audit. 2, the company has kept proper books of accounts so far as appears from our examination of those books, and returns adequate for our audits have been received from branches not visited by us. 3, the company's statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts. Signed by Rashid Raji for PricewaterhouseCoopers Chartered Accountants, Lagos, Nigeria, dated 30th of April 2020. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now call on the chairperson of the Statutory Audit Committee to read the committee's report.
Good morning, members of the board, chairman, members of the board, distinguished shareholders. Thank you. Once again, good morning, chairperson, members of the board, watching us online, distinguished shareholders who are also online and those who are here, and distinguished stakeholders. I now read the report of the Audit Committee on page 47. Report of the Audit Committee for the year ended December 31st, 2019. To members of Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC. In compliance with the provisions of the Section 359, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, we, the members of the Statutory Audit Committee of Portland Paints and Products Nigeria PLC, the company, hereby report that we have exercised our statutory functions under Section 359, subsection 6 of CAMA, and acknowledge the cooperation of management and staff in the conduct of these responsibilities. Specifically, we confirm that the accounting and reporting policies of the company are consistent with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices. The scope and planning of the external audit for the year ended 31 December 2019 was satisfactory and adequate. The company maintained effective system of accounting and internal controls during the year. The company's management adequately responded to matters covered in the management reports issued by the external auditors. Finally, we deliberated with the external auditors, who confirmed that all necessary cooperation was received from management and that they had issued a clean report in respect of the year ended December 31st, 2019. Signed by me, Mr. Balogun, Chairman of the Committee. Other members who are watching us online are Comrade Sulaimon P. Adenrele, a member, Mrs. Adelan Ogunfidodo, a member, and Engineer Dipo Ashafa, a member. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Balogun. Pursuant to Section 224 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, I hereby declare that a poll be taken on all resolutions for consideration at this meeting. except the resolution for the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee, which shall be by show of hands. Since this is an AGM by proxy, and the votes on all the proxy forms duly submitted have been collated by the registrars, I would ask the registrars to share the voting results on the resolution upon their introduction for consideration. Distinguished shareholders, the first item on the agenda is to lay before you the 2019 annual report and audited financial statements as at December 31st, 2019. You now have an opportunity to ask questions regarding the annual report and financial statements. In doing so, it would help to ensure that we give the right answer if you could refer to the page of the report and accounts to which your question relates. Remember to raise your hands to enable the chairperson call on you to speak. Once called to speak, please state your name before asking your questions. The Managing Director and I would be pleased to answer any questions which you may have on the report and financial statements before we proceed. Please be informed that a microphone has been made available for our use. Please keep your masks on and proceed to the microphone stand when called upon to ask your questions. I will now call on Mr. Matthew Akinlade to ask his questions.
Once again, Chairman, board members, and regulatory authority and distinguished shareholders, good morning. My name is Matthew Akinlade, the president of Nigerian Shareholders Solidarity Association, now Noble Shareholders Solidarity Association. First and foremost, I want to welcome the new chairman, Mrs. Balogun, and the new managing director, Mrs. Okunowo, to Portland Products, Portland Paints. In the lighter mood, in the past, what people used to say is to say companies have to be gender sensitive. But nowadays, it appears male are now the endangered species. If you look at this item, they are all women. And if we extend it a bit further to the registrar, women all over. And even looking at the board, I think women constitute the majority. I want to congratulate you. It's because you are capable. And nowadays, even when you go outside Portland Paints, go and look at first generation banks and those banks. Most of them, the chairperson are women. And they are doing great things. So I want to congratulate the women. But please, let men too survive. Now, well, like I said earlier on, that's in the latter mode. I congratulate our company for another successful year. Yesterday, I knew I would be coming to this meeting and I didn't have annual report. I have to go to Nigerian Stock Exchange site, and I was able to download the annual report of Portland Products. I could observe that our revenue came down slightly by about 7.7%. But one good thing about this company is our ability to control costs, especially cost of sales. Despite the fact that the revenue dropped by 7.7%, cost of sale also, in similar manner, dropped by 6%. which means they have farm growth of course. And when we go to specifics, selling and distribution costs went up by 7.9%. But admin costs, where we have most overheads, dropped by 2.7%, which means the board and management are conscious of the need to have firm control of course at this point in our national life when the economy is down. I know last year was a very trying period for most companies, and I don't think this year will be different. This current year, 2020, may even be worse with the COVID-19 pandemic. So for us, as board and management, we have a big task ahead of us to ensure we do all possible things to give good return to the investors. We know it's challenging, but that's why we put you gurus there. And I pray God will help you to do it and succeed. But if we look at profit after tax, we recorded profit. Our profit dropped by 58.7% from 206 million the previous year to 85 million. That translates to 11 kobo per share. Like you did last year when you pay 5 kobo dividend. For me, I don't see any reason why you couldn't do it this year. Because looking at your balance sheet is solid. In terms of cash flow, you are doing well. I just think probably just the decision of UAC Group to suffocate small investor this year by not paying anything. Please, always let us be conscious of the need for the shareholders to have some returns on their investment. Now, there are few things that I will need explanation for. Like I said, I used the annual report I downloaded from the stock exchange portal. So my paging will not be same as yours. But on page 24 of that particular one I downloaded, impairment of financial assets, which was 20 million last year, is 37 million this year. So what is this financial asset that we impaired? Then on page 52, note 12, well, if you check the note there, that will be the same. Stock impairment rose from 76 million to 100 million. Is it obsolescence? Is it damage to the stock? Is it mistake of the past that we are trying to correct? We appreciate it if we can give some explanation. Then note 13.1, that's trade receivable. In spite of the fact that our revenue dropped, the trade receivable is on the rise, and it rose by 33% from 448 million to 596 million. Probably if substantial part of this had been brought in, it would have generated some income for us. Then, impairment of trade receivable too rose from 202 million to 239 million. So we want to know the effort we are making on credit control, do we have a credit control meeting that, a credit control committee that have regular meeting to review and pursue all these debts? On page 9, item 16 of that report, that's on governance, board evaluation. The chairman, it was written about what and what had been done on board evaluation. Great, but for it to be credible, I think we need to outsource board evaluation going forward. I think you did it internally this year. Going forward, please, let's outsource it. Let an independent person come to assess our performance. On page 13, I want to commend board members. There were 6 board meetings, and they all attended, except those who have not been appointed at the point of making meeting. So I will say congratulations. The same thing for the Risk and Governance Committee meeting. Attendance was 100%. And even when we go to the Statutory Audit Committee meeting, there were 6 meetings, and all members attended. Can we give them a round of applause for that, please? Now, board committee. I think the board committee you have now is only one. Risk and governance committee. I think you need more than that. And I don't know, I will suggest that you need nomination and remuneration committee. I know you are a subsidiary of a group, but even then, we should do things as proper. Who determine whom do we bring to the board? Do we go through a nomination committee? Remuneration of board members, who determine it? Is it considered by a committee before it's recommended to the board for approval? So please let us note that. On page 61, I could see that you contributed to unemployment last year. From 111 employees, you dropped to 77. And looking at our business, we need a quantum jump in our business so as to be able to sustain our employees and help Nigeria to reduce unemployment. I pray that God will help you and that this company will continue to grow. But I think all of us will have a big task ahead of us. And with unrelenting effort, we shall succeed. Once again, Mrs. Chairman, you are welcome to the board, and your tenure is going to be successful. Same as I wish the managing director. I believe all of you are capable and you can deliver. And I pray that you will deliver. When we come here next year, we should be talking a different and sweet story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akinlade. I will now call on Mr. Anthony Omojola for his questions. Thank you.
Thank you, our chairperson. The name is Evangelist Dr. Anthony Omojola, the new National Coordinator, Independent Shareholder Association of Nigeria. Well, I heard the chairperson said we should not repeat what others have said. I'm lucky I'm the second speaker. But I want to say that if we have to repeat what the earlier speaker has said, it should be for embassy or in terms of approach or methodology of presentation. So just give us that indulgence, more so when we are not too many here, so the speakers will be limited. Thank you for that opportunity. Well, let me first of all appreciate all I have seen here. Speaking of language of colors, and the coloring is beautiful. I admired, starting from the chairperson, the director and secretaries, and of course the participants. I look at it that the color varies. That pays some credence to the company we are participating in, including the venue. Well, board size. Our board size is okay. But the subcommittee, which is risk and governance, say it's not enough. The first speaker has alluded to this. But I look at the annual report with a subcommittee with 30 terms of reference. You will agree with me, that is overwhelming. And when I say overwhelming, it's overwhelm the committee, overwhelm the members. And some of these terms require diverse reasoning. So we cannot cover all these 30 terms with just a subcommittee. At least another committee is required to separate risk from governance and remuneration. There are three distinct things. So you cannot have three subcommittees, at least you have to break into two. Okay? In actual fact, the board itself needs an independent non-executive member, which none of the current members can fit into. In other words, what am I saying? You need a new appointment into the board to make 6 instead of 5 to be able to do the needful. And in terms of reporting, we need the MD Chief Executive's report on actual activities and the operations during the year for a more detailed report, and not the extract and well, as reported by the chairperson. We need an improvement on that. I look at page 6, performance. Our revenue declined marginally, but profit before tax and profit after tax took a nosedive of 59% each. I think this was too much within an accounting year. So the question is, what is the board and management doing to reverse the trend? There's no doubt that this has impacted or affected the market capitalization of the company. The price, if we look at it, has moved from 2 Naira 83 kobo to about 2 Naira 20 kobo. So if we reverse the trend, definitely the tide will also swing positively. This will want to be done in the in the current accounting year and in the nearest future. From the chairperson's statement on page 12, it is noteworthy that we took advantage of our sister company and do some production to reduce expenses. So now, what is the situation? Is the mutual agreement sustainable? If so, what happened to our equipment at Ewekoro in terms of maintenance? And when you look at wear and tear, can we maintain it without having reasonable production there? Or what can we do? What's the alternative? What do we do? Furthermore, I want to ask, could we move towards integrating these two companies in the medium to long time period? Some of us have been looking at that in the past. Now that we've taken advantage of what happened in the other one, maybe we look forward that further integration could happen in the nearest future. On page 27, I noticed the comments as related to COVID-19 impact on assets. I wish to say that the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria has issued guidelines on how to make provisions and adjust accordingly with standard regulations. This we should look into. It's in their website. Okay? Well, the earlier speaker has given kudos to the board, the committee members, and both the risk and governance committee of the board and the statutory audit committee for what I consider to be 100% performance. So in all, this is an excellent result signifying total commitment. And we hope deliberations and policy directives will lead to more positive results in the future. Furthermore, we look at pages 54 and, page 54. This one shows 8% decline in our revenue for 2019 when compared with that of 2018, while our cost of sale was 63.19% and 61.99% for the 2 years. I differ a bit with the earlier speaker. He said your cost of sale improved. No, it came down by about 2%, if you look at it. We have, we are hoping that management will devise means of monitoring these declines and shore up our incomes. Again, decision on whether to pay or not to pay dividend should only take into cognizance the need of all stakeholders. All stakeholders. When you talk of the impairments, page 9, note 12 specifically, reveals stock impairment of, I think the earlier speaker mentioning, 76 million for 2018, 100 million for 2019, respectively. While page 92, note 13, also reveal impairments of trade receivable of 202 million for 2018 and 239 million for 2019. If almost 50% of trade receivable is impaired, we need to do certain things, and I'm suggesting a few of them. We must look into the quality and size of our inventories relative to customers' demand. We must review our inventory or stock control policies. And finally, we must look into and improve on our credit policies from time to time so as to take advantage of market situations. Otherwise, you continue to have these impairments because standard provisions makes it so. But if you prove on ways of doing it, then definitely you have less impairment. And I hope, I believe, with the people on the board and management, like my erudite fellow has alluded to it earlier, we believe in the capability of the management and board, and we know you are going to do the needful. So if you put all this into use, I'm sure positive change in our revenue and the shareholders will be safe to reap the benefit of investment. I wish us all good deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Evangelist Dr. Anthony Omojola. I will now call on Mr. Olugbenga Ido for his questions. Thank you, sir.
My name is Benga Idowu, though in the ministry I'm a pastor. So, now I want to stand on the existing protocol. I don't want to go into lady, men, or women. God created us all.
I want to speak to the accounts. And I'm speaking, going straight to page 2. I want to take page 2, page 3, and page 7 together. You can never get a house without a foundation. It's not possible. If you have a house and the foundation is not well laid, I'm sure after some years, even if they manage it, it's going to send everybody packing. I think that's what is going on generally. I stumbled into UAC group organizational structure by 19 of this last month when I attended CPN. My friends have always tried to get me to come to any of the AGM, but I don't go. But that day I was forced to go. So I started looking, having a look at them after the meeting and this one too. And that's what made me. I'll start first of all with the vision. The vision over here is either not there. When you have a vision which is not focused, where do you end up? You don't know where you are going. Where's the destination? You want to be somewhere where this is where they are defined. I think that one, on the backdrop of page 3, the company profile, I try to look at them. I can't marry them. And when you are running a company where you are not defined your goal, where you are going, vision is where you are going. The mission is how you get there. When you look at, I think I'm giving board assignment. Go back and go and look at all these things. I'm sure you are going to come up better when you know where you are going. Dealing with financials, what you have spent or what you have not spent. Me, when I attend meeting, that is not always my priority. My priority is to know what are the collective pool of the human resources and material, how you are deploying them to achieve that. That's the very first thing. When you look at page 7, I look at even the last, the annual report of that company in question I was talking about 19. How can you have an annual report you don't know, say an annual report? Is it 5th? Is it 10? And the one I begin to look at this company, you started at 2013 or something. Why you say USC point to have it? You don't know whether this is 5th annual, then you don't know whether you are crawling or you are walking. So it's only well defined. Focus. Then you now know we are at the 4th annual general meeting. This is what we did. Now, 5th, we must overcome this. So they all follow each other. So I'm not just talking for that. Now I will take another one, page 20. The particular or substantial shareholder, USC. USC has about 86 point something % of this company. No wonder. I mean, they are the dividend they cater to USC or whatever. So what do you want the shareholder to have? Everybody. Now, on the same scale, the directors helping us, they are from the USC. What is the directors holding? Some they don't have anything. Their allegiance is not to us. Their allegiance is to USC. I think there's a need to have a reversal of all this. It's not a case I'm an apostle of people having talent and skill being taken on the board. You can be on the board without any shareholding, but you must justify it to the shareholder. You do it for them. But you there, you come from USC, then you are not from us. So definitely, you go to the piper, dictate the tune. So we must have some of you to having some holdings in this company. Even if it's a nominal, then you now know how it fits. When you come to AGM, you are not going to have dividend like any of us do. So I think that is a major thing I want to look at first, because those are fundamental issues. You making money, yes. To who? Then you are the one to answer those questions. Now I want to look at the other pages I want to look at. First of all, if you are going to go by group structure, then the group had to change their modality. I'm talking of USC itself. USC is dying. I've been attending their meeting before, but I don't attend any of these days. But now they're taking a look at the way the shareholders and the market, the capital market is going. I'm having a second look at this, and that's what made me come to the shareholders' activity in the first instance. I think it's the same thing that is repeating itself now. When USC, they need to put on their thinking cap if they want to do a group structure. A group structure, if you are going to do marketing, none of you independent subsidiary can take on the money of marketing. It's not possible. That is why some of these conglomerates always talking about technical service agreement. I think there's someone on the Nigerian Rising who is trying to do that one, and that's Elumelu Group, the Transgulf Group. You will find that they themselves have some money which the subsidiary contribute to the group. Those money are those you can deploy to do marketing, like Portland Paints. I hear them because I'm an investor, but I never even look at them. I never look at them. Well, the reason why I didn't look at them is that I don't know what they are doing. And I know I got caught up. The person who brought me here, no, too. I called me into CAPL and this one. I don't go there. Yes, it's true. I see some CAPL with color and whatever. And the color is very good, quality color. But that's more I know about it. Only when I'm now looking. I'm now beginning to look at them and then to help them. The USC, the present USC, the way they are doing business, that's business of 20s, not the present day business. Everybody should put on their thinking cap. The group, they need to put money into USC. The USC now will help them to market. All of them are dying. Is it gala? They are talking before everybody eat gala. But now there are so many people taking them. You see, all these things, somebody should be in strategy. All of you, everybody who have to help USC. And you put it very there, a subsidiary of USC of Nigeria PLC. That is supposed to show something. And then you have to bid the USC. And USC now will bid all of you two up. So everybody will contribute. It's a lot of things to make USC be USC. So, and for us to have joy. I like this color when I come here. The same thing that CAP, the largest AGM, especially the bag they gave us. The color stood out. Very beautiful. But if you don't have a team spirit or synergy or pushing this thing, it can't fly. That's the part I'm saying. I want you to fly. I want USC to be USC. There's a time in this country, everybody wants to be in USC. And you too, you want to associate with USC, be USC up. And they will beat you up. So that is some of the major things I'm looking at. First, another question. I read sound text. I read MP. But on page 34 of this annual report, what are you trying to say to us? I don't know MP. What do they do? Me, I don't know. Because I cannot say, oh, this is a good customer of Porter Paint, MP. Where are they? What do they do? So these are some of those things that we need to go out. Santex, yes, apart from you put a very beautiful color on this one, then to average man on the street, what does it mean? So these are the things that will sell the company, that will sell the product. So it's not just only coming and looking at figures and beautifully, individually. I read so many of you through this book. If somebody is coming from IBTC or whatever, I know what it takes. And sometimes I relate with them on one day. I know what they are. But it's like you bring a professor, you bring him into a very nonsensical environment. What is he going to produce? Nothing. He will change the environment. If the environment wants to be changed, and they provide the resources. So that I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm sorry. Today I didn't come. I'm wearing my cap as an activist in the capital market. It's not because they will bring guys who have been direct, who have been no. An activist. Because we need to change the way we do business. We have to change. We have the resources. What do we make of it? So it's not just coming here. It's not business as usual. By the grace of God, if God grants us life, I'll be present at your meeting next annual general meeting. I want to see the difference that is made in some of those things I'm putting forward. They are very simple things, but they are the thing that matters. Because every day to day, you are already going with an idea that I'm going to do this. By the grace of God, God will make it possible. That's my own idea. I don't believe anything is impossible. No. You set about it, you get it. But what? What? We need to beat Portland Paint. We need to beat UAC. We need to beat CAPA. There's no point trying all this company going down, and then we want people to be employed. Employed where? Most of the companies are taken up by churches. And I believe that no time now, the mosque will be taken. It will take some of them. So, but whereas we want people to come leave school and go and join this company, it is us who will change it. We are in a vantage position to make Nigeria fly by the little things we are doing. So it is important that we get it. Then I look at, I want the chairman or the MD to tell me what exactly they were trying to say by that page 34. All those tell something. I don't know where are they. What did they do? Then I want to look at page 23. This is board evaluation. But it's a serious business. That is where the company die or moves. It just, who is evaluating it? They just wrote something. Somebody just wrote something. Who's evaluating the board? Is it the auditor? Some will get maybe about JK to do. We will do your, maybe somebody in one department, in UAC group, writing what the board. No. When you don't do business as it should be done, don't expect the result. Don't expect the result. You don't want to pay. How are you going to fly? When you pay, then you want to get the result of your payment from those ones. So it is important. Don't just write anything for me to go and look at the board evaluation. You are doing it. Then the quality of the annual report needs to be beefed up. It needs to be beefed up. You don't write something as if you are just, no. Your annual report can go anywhere, any climate. Then it should stand the test of time. But this quality is not. It is below par. So I think me talking about money, yes, I want to talk about money. If you are generating a business of 2 billion, it's not a mean achievement. Business of 2 billion. Then, why can't we take it to 5 billion? If you can generate 2 billion, you can generate 5 billion. So by looking at the parameters by which you, and some of them have already been talking, in terms of committee, that you saddle with all the responsibility, you won't know why. Some people will not go home in the 24 hours. They will stay in office. Whereas some people will have a good day. That's the meaning. I'm sorry. Please, I may be trying to say with some venom. No. It's because I know the potential you have. And then you are not harnessing the potential. I should be harnessed. Talking from the UAC, coming from the UAC. It's not. They are telling the business as usual. No, the whole world is not business as usual anymore. Now we are the number 1 in Nigeria. We started before independence, meaning what? So we need to put on a thinking cap. I wish you God guidance, wisdom, strength, and life to turn our company to what we want it to be. God will help all of us. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor Olugbengaido. And thank you all, shareholders, for your questions. So we'll be answering your questions. So I'll go through a couple and then hand over to Bolarin to respond to very specific operational matters. I want to start this way. First off, I appreciate our candor. And like it said, an annual general meeting is actually a family meeting. In a family meeting, you say it as it is, gloves off. Not to tear down, but to build up. What the issues are, what we're currently doing, and where we plan to be. So that's what this is going to be. And I appreciate every single question, every single commendation, every single concern raised at today's meeting. We would address each and every one of them. So I'll start the way we started, with Mr. Matthew Akinlade's comments and questions. First and foremost, Mr. Matthew Akinlade, we met last year. So I'm not new here. So it's not my first year. It was my first year last year. So thank you very much. On the lighter note on men being endangered species, I can assure you that there's no cause for concern. All is well. Yeah, gender balance on the board is something that is encouraged worldwide. And I'm happy that, your company is also categorized as one of those who are at the forefront of implementing, those concepts. You started with cost optimization, and you noted the fact that cost of sales had dropped, which it had year on year. You can marry that with declining volumes or declining revenues as well. But we should also note that there had been some cost optimization initiatives in our company to minimize spend, to optimize cost. We are seeing the output of that gradually. We hope to see more of that in coming years. You talked about dividend payment. We should say it as it is. For us, 2019 was a challenging year. It was a challenging year for us. We had the elections, which had its own effects on our business activity. Then we had the changes and the delays in political appointments. And what that did was that it led to a delay in large-scale projects in the oil and gas industry. And if you know, Hempel is our marine paint segment. So if you look at the records, you'll notice a 25% drop in sales of marine paint. It was that delay. So if things were unclear, if there was a lot of uncertainty, and considering how the oil and gas industry is positioned in the economy and where our revenue was coming from, a lot didn't happen. And when it started to happen, it didn't happen on time and at the scale we had planned for 2019. So that happened, and that impacted the numbers. So if you look at our overall top line, declining by 8%, our profits shrinking, well over 100%, it was that. It was basically that. So not dwelling on the challenges we have or we had in 2019, what are we currently doing? Cost improvement structures we are prioritizing, strategic engagements with our partners, tool manufacturers or importers. We have a collaboration with the Hempel brand. So they manufacture for us and we buy from them and then we sell in country. The margins are great. We intend to pursue that line. So we are re-emphasizing and realigning on that, and we expect to see positive outcomes. Reassessment of our talent pool, because we are clear, and I'll come to your question about vision and mission later on, sir. Because we are clear on where we want to go, we are clear on what we want to do. So we also know the kinds of people we need to have for focus, and we expect to see the outcomes of those tough decisions we have made in the coming years. Mr. Akinlade talked about impairment of financial assets, stock impairments, trade receivables. I'll leave Bolarin to dwell on those. On outsourcing of board evaluation, let me be clear that, a board evaluation exercise, you are saying, who do I have on my board? Do they have the right skill? Do they have the right competence? Are they devoting the right time? Will they deliver on our strategic objectives? One, what has the code said as regards my board members? Are we in line with its requirements? Now, there's no mandatory, you're not compelled to use an external assessor, even though, like you all mentioned, we've seen some value in using an independent consultant in carrying out those exercises. So yes, it is worth considering for Portland Paints going forward. But as we also know, there's a cost implication of getting consultants on board to carry out this exercise. Now, just to give you comfort on what we did for 2019, we had the company secretary carry out this exercise. There are requirements of the code. You are benchmarking what we have done vis-a-vis what the code stipulates. That's phase one of it. Then there's a peer appraisal where all of the directors, under the condition of anonymity, you are to assess each person. How is this person on the board? How is this person accountability-wise? How is this person knowledge-wise? How is this person as a team player? Does this chairperson, for example, provide the right leadership? How does this person ensure the right dynamics on this board? So all of that was appraised and a report generated. And the report was not a clean report. It didn't say, you know what, you all did so well, put your hands together and then we all go home. No. There were strategic points saying, in this area you have done well, we can do better, what can we do, who needs to do it, what timelines, and all of that is maintained. So just to give you comfort, the board evaluation exercise conducted in 2019 was professionally done, and is something that the internal auditors also review to say we have an external internal auditor, so to speak. KPMG Professional Services conducts that. They review that to say what have you done and what's the adequacy of what you've done, and we haven't gotten an adverse feedback in that regard. So just to give you comfort, it was done in line with regulatory requirements. Now, going into 2020, would we adopt the same approach? We've had you. We've gotten the feedback, and it's something we would reassess for implementation. You mentioned attendance at board and board committee meetings. Thank you for the commendation. And the need to have an additional board committee. Now, yes, you're right. We have just one board committee, the Risk and Governance Committee. There's the Statutory Audit Committee, which isn't a board committee, so to speak. The need for us to have nomination and remuneration committee, as suggested, is noted. You talked about unemployment and our involvement in that. Some of the actions we took in reducing headcount was more or less for focus and to streamline our activities. And I should mention here that that process was seamless, was professionally handled, and I think it was a win-win situation for both parties. So if I move on to Evangelist Dr. Mojola's comments, thank you, sir, for the commendation of the colors. I'm happy you noticed the hard work towards making this place visually appealing for every one of us. You also talked about the board size and the board committee and the need for an additional board committee, which I had previously talked about. You talked about the inclusion of an MD's report in the annual report. That's noted. That's noted. But basically, looking through the report is basically the MD speaking to what has been done, financial and non-financial parameters, but putting in a section dedicated to like an MD's feedback, it's noted. You talked about toll manufacturing with CAP and our facility at Ewekoro. Bolarin will respond to that. I should state here also that we are also totally committed to more positive results, and we expect that to be the case in subsequent years. Pastor Lugbengaido, you talked about our vision and our mission. We are very clear on what we are about. So that's why, still referring to the page you talked about, page 2, on our vision, which is to be a dominant player in our chosen line of business. And I think for me, a key takeaway from this meeting with you, sir, is that you would understand what we are about. Hempel as a brand is marine paint. So it's not decorative. So it's not something you and I would use, but I must, it's something we should brag about. It's something we should be happy to talk about, that it's the notable paint in the oil and gas industry. And we have key players or key customers there who see us as the first point of call in that regard. So like you said, this journey is collaborative, and everyone has to, like it said, roll up their sleeves and get the work done. We also see you as a brand ambassador for us to go out there and get these contracts and get these sales pitches and get these opportunities for us to follow through on. So we are in decorative, we are in industrial, we are in marine paints and protective coatings. It gives us an opportunity to fly. Like you said, we have potential, and it's our ability to harness those potentials this year that we're working towards. Mr. Akinlade talked about the fact that there's COVID this year, and to a large extent is stifling our ability to do a lot of things, but we are not deterred. We are not deterred. Be assured that your company is working hard to ensure that there's a turnaround in every aspect. You talked about the need for us to include the number of the AGM. Is it the 4th, the 5th, the 6th? That's well noted. You talked about directors to have more shareholdings. Noted. You talked about knowledge of our brands. I think maybe before you leave, we'll ask someone to just do a quick recap of what are our paints, what are our service lines, what does it entail. And you should be assured, we have engagements with specifiers, painters, and the feedback is very, very positive. So once you take that on board, we expect you to help us resonate this feedback also in the market. You talked about the quality of our annual reports, great, and you ended with our ability to generate more revenue. We share that same. We share that same. We share that same concern. We share that same dream as well, that we can do it. We can do it. We have plans, there are strategic plans for the year. God willing, those will be implemented, and we expect the outcome of the hard work being done by employees of your company and, of course, executive management and the board. We expect to see positive fruition come end of 2020. Thank you. So I'll now hand over to Bolarin to take us through other aspects of the questions asked.
Thank you, dear Chairperson. Distinguished shareholders, I think I'll first of all crave indulgence to remain seated as I respond to the questions. Thank you. I think firstly, thank you for the warm welcome that has been extended to myself. It's a privilege for me to be here seated today in this position within your company. So thank you for that. I think the Chairperson has answered a lot of the questions that were raised, and she has asked that I address a couple of them, which I hope to be able to provide clarity on. In particular, we raised questions around the impairment of financial assets that appeared in our profit statement. So for that is tied to the impairment on our receivables. That's what that figure, the 36 million, relates to. And it's really driven due to the implementation of IFRS 9. Because of that financial standard, we have to take or recognize impairments on all of our receivables, even those that are current. So even where we give our customers credit terms, yes, sir. Credit terms, we still need to recognize some level of impairment from day one. So that accounted for the level of the increase in impairment levels that was noted on the receivables. For the stock impairment, that rose by 25 million for the year. There was a question asked by Mr. Akinlade as to whether that's related to obsolete stock. You're correct, sir, it relates to that, as well as bad and damaged stock. So these are things that come in the routine of doing business. From our side, we're certainly focused on improving our performance here, improving our inventory management to ensure that there's a quicker turnaround of our inventory and a reduction in the level of impairments that we need to take. There was another question, again, tied to the receivables, but I believe I've addressed that. We note as well the increase in receivables, which our credit team are working on actively to wind. I think to note the increase that is noted at the year end is tied to some of the things that the Chairperson mentioned about the delay in business activities. So towards the tail end of the year, we saw a lot of ramp up in activities, which meant we were booking a lot of our sales towards the tail end, and as at year end, those credit terms had not wound up. So that's why we see the increase in our receivables. The other question that was left was raised around the toll manufacturing arrangement we have with CAP. So I think to provide some background to that, middle of last year, we took a strategic decision, or the company took a strategic decision to exit its factory at Iwekoro, and in line with doing that, signed a toll manufacturing agreement with CAP. The decision to leave the factory was driven really by a desire to be operationally efficient. So both considering cost implications and think what is most efficient for us. I think some of the comments today were noted around, I think some of the improvements we've seen in cost, and also a call for us to do further. This we're certainly focused on doing as a management, bringing down our cost, and being more efficient in the way we operate. For us, it's also an opportunity to reposition our business closer to our target market. So being located in Lagos and being able to then reach our customers even better. I think for us, that was one of the paramount and key decisions behind that decision. For us, so that for us was a key thing that we did last year. And I hopefully that provides some clarity regards to that arrangement. I think those are the two items that the Chairperson asked me to comment on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Okunowo. We will now proceed to the next item on the agenda. The next item on the agenda is the approval of appointment of directors. Section 248, subsection 1 of CAMA empowers shareholders to re-elect, reject, or appoint new directors. The new directors whose appointments are to be approved at this meeting are Mrs. Bolanri Okunowo and Dr. Vitus Ezinwa. The directors were appointed during the course of the year, and by virtue of the relevant provisions of CAMA, we now present them for your approval. Mrs. Okunowo, to please stand. I hereby move that the appointment of Mrs. Bolanri Okunowo as a director be and is hereby approved. Would someone please rise and second the motion? Thank you, Mr. Akinlade.
My name was again Matthew Akinlade. I rise to second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. I now put the motion to the meeting. Registrar, kindly announce the result of the poll.
Thank you, Chairperson. Please permit me to just respond to the complaint by Mr. Akinlade concerning the non-receipt of annual report. Okay, we sent soft copy to his email address, and we also delivered hard copy to the association office. So I will investigate who collected it and find out why it was not given to you. And I'll revert back to you, sir. Thank you very much. For the resolution to approve the appointment of Mrs. Bolanri Okunowo as the director of the company, the result of the poll is as follows. 683,085,781 units of shares, representing 100% of the votes cast by proxy, voted in favor of the resolution. There is no vote against the resolution, and there is no abstention. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think going forward, you can add the number of participants just so that we know that they are, you said earlier 60 something.
Yes, I indicated the number of
So we need to read it along when you make the announcement.
Okay, just the number of proxies.
Yeah, to add it along. 61 for this, having this number of units.
Okay, noted.
Okay, thank you very much. I hereby move that the appointment of Dr. Vitus Ezinwa as a director be and is hereby approved. Would someone please rise and second the motion? Please, Ido, you have to, Mr. Ido, you have to go to the mic stand, please. Just a quick comment, sir. I think just a quick comment, sir. I think anyone seconding the motion should please approach the stand, just so viewers at home can see you clearly and hear you as well.
I was thinking on the lighter mode that because my voice looked like bedroom voice, that's why you want me to come there. My name is Benga Idu. I rise to second the motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting. Registrar, kindly announce the result of the poll.
Thank you, Chairperson. For the resolution to approve the appointment of Dr. Vitus Ezinwa as the director of the company, the result of the poll is as follows. 683,085,781 units of shares, representing 100% of the votes cast by proxy, voted in favor of the resolution. This is also the entire 61 proxies that were received that voted in favor of the resolution. There is no vote against the resolution, and there is no abstention. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Distinguished shareholders, the next item on the agenda is the re-election of retiring directors. In accordance with Section 259, subsection 1 of CAMA, at the annual general meeting in every subsequent year, 1/3 of the directors for the time being shall retire from office and be eligible for re-election. Distinguished shareholders, the directors retiring by rotation and who being eligible have presented themselves for re-election are myself, Mrs. Esosa Balogun, and Mrs. Adeline Ogunfidodo. I hereby move that Mrs. Adeline Ogunfidodo, who is retiring by rotation and has offered herself for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected. Would someone please rise and second the motion?
I, Evangelist Dr. Anthony Omojola, do second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. I now put the motion to the meeting. Registrar, kindly announce the result of the poll.
Thank you, Chairperson. For the resolution to re-elect Mrs. Adeline Ogunfidodo as a director of the company, the result of the poll is as follows. 61 proxies with a total of 683,085,781 units of shares, representing 100% of the votes cast by proxy, voted in favor of the resolution. There is no vote against the resolution, and there is no abstention. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. For the resolution approving my re-election as a director, I will hand over to the Managing Director, Mrs. Okunowo, to move the motion.
Thank you, Chairperson. Distinguished shareholders, I hereby move that Mrs. Esosa Balogun, who is retiring by rotation and has offered herself for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected. Will someone please rise and second the motion? Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
I, Matthew Akinlade, rise to second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. I now put the motion to the meeting. Registrar, kindly announce the result of the poll.
Thank you, Chairperson. For the resolution to re-elect Mrs. Esosa Balogun as the director of the company, the result of the poll is as follows. 61 proxies with 683,085,781 units of shares, representing 100% of the votes cast by proxy, voted in favor of the resolution. There is no vote against the resolution, and there is no abstention. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Mrs. Okunowo. Thank you very much. Distinguished shareholders, the next item on the agenda is to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. The auditors, Messrs. PricewaterhouseCoopers, have indicated their interest to continue to act as the auditors of the company, and as such, Section 361, subsection 1 of CAMA requires that their remuneration be fixed by the company in a general meeting or in such a manner as the company may determine in the general meeting. I hereby move that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditors for the year ending December 31st, 2020. Would someone please rise and second the motion?
My name is Benga Ito. I rise to second the motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting. Registrar, kindly announce the result of the poll.
Thank you, Chairperson. For the resolution to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors, the result of the poll is as follows. 61 proxies with a total of 683,085,781 units of shares, representing 100% of the votes cast by proxy, voted in favor of the resolution. There is no vote against the resolution, and there is no abstention. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. The next item on the agenda is the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee. The directors nominated to represent the board on the Statutory Audit Committee are Mrs. Adeline Ogunfidodo and Engineer Dikbo Ashafa. The Company Secretary has confirmed that a total of 2 valid nominations representing the shareholders were received, namely Mr. Shamsidin Balogun and Comrade Sulaiman Adenrele. Since the 2 shareholder nominees are unopposed, I hereby move that they have been validly elected as members of the Statutory Audit Committee. The following persons are the members of the Statutory Audit Committee: Mr. Shamsidin Balogun, Comrade Sulaiman Adenrele, Mrs. Adeline Ogunfidodo, and Engineer Dikbo Ashafa. Would someone please rise and second the motion?
I, Matthew Akinlade, I rise to second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Ladies and gentlemen, as there is no other business on the agenda, I would like to thank you all on behalf of the board for attending this meeting and showing so much interest in your company's affairs. For the closing prayers, I would like to call on Pastor Olugbenga Ido for the closing prayers.
Please, may I implore us to be upstanding for the prayer. In Jesus' name. Our Father and our God, we thank you. At the beginning of this meeting, we asked for a successful meeting, and you granted us. Thank you for being our good Father. We made during the course of the meeting a number of propositions by way of asking, by way of suggestion, by way of advising. Father, turn them into reality, that by next meeting, when we come, we have full cause to glorify your name. During the course of the year, no loss of life. We try that you will protect us against COVID-19 or any other adversaries. Father, we trust you. We believe you. We receive all this in Jesus' name.
Thank you very much. May we be seated? I hereby declare this meeting closed. Thank you, distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen. I acknowledge and thank our stakeholders who are following the proceedings online. I want to thank you all very much. Thank you. So we have come to the end of today's program. May we all rise for the national anthem.